At the precise instant of India's arrival at independence, on the stroke of midnight, I tumbled forth into the world.
So many babies. Oh, give it to me.
Mary knew she was condemning the rich-born boy to a life of poverty. Let the rich be poor, and the poor rich. I, Salim Sinai, mysteriously handcuffed to history, my destiny forever chained to my country's.
Great things in store for you, my son.
Salim, we were born then in that first hour. We're like you.
All of you?
Yes. All of us.
How can I hear you all?
Salim has the greatest gift of all. He's the only one who can bring us all together.
When I told you I heard voices in my head, you didn't believe me.
Are you okay, Salim? Because I think you're a little bit off your head.
Martial law is imposed with immediate effect. Therefore, on my command, we assume control of the state.
Don't you all see everything else is breaking apart? We can show people a new way of being.
Come back to me.
I love you.
A child and a country were born at midnight, once upon a time. And our lives have been, in spite of everything, acts of love.
There are some who steer clear of challenges, and there are others who aren't afraid to embrace them. I'm with a filmmaker who belongs to the latter category. Deepa Mehta, thank you so much for talking to Filmicafe.
No, it's a pleasure. I like Filmicafe. I've lost my voice, you have to forgive me, but that doesn't make me stop saying I think you guys are very cool.
Thank you so much. Now, is that a fairly fair introduction of you? Are you a fearless filmmaker?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, the way you're perceived by others is not necessarily the way you look at yourself. I mean, I feel that I've known fear so many times, and I feel that the films I do are not because they're big challenges, it's because I like the stories. So it's always interesting that when I hear that, and I say, okay, that's fine, you know, it's okay.
Now, what was it that made you want to take the leap, prompted you to make this film, Midnight Children?
You know, Midnight's Children is based on a very, very iconic book. It's the Booker of Bookers. It's a very famous book, and it's an epic novel which is about you know, India when it got its independence from Britain. So it's an epic post-colonial novel, but it's not just a history lesson, because it's also the beautiful and romantic and tragic and funny life story of a young man. So whatever happens to Salim Sinai, who's an unlikely hero, so he's not what you think. He's not like Batman or superpowers or anything. He's just a regular guy, you know. And whatever happens to him happens to India.
Right. Yeah. Now, I wonder, what were you looking for in your Salim, Shiva and Parvati, and what did you find in Satya, Siddharth and Shreya? What did they bring to their parts?
You know, all actors are so important, and I'm a great stickler for, you know, they have to be really good actors. They should really know their craft very well, and they can be instinctive actors. It isn't that you have to have a lot of work or anything, but some people just shine on screen. So for the character of Satya, you know, that Satya played, which is Salim Sinai, I said earlier that I was looking for an unlikely hero. So I wanted him to be very warm, and very sweet and accessible.
Right.
Like, your guy next door. I mean, he didn't have to, have a six-pack or be, 6'6" tall and be able to do the great dance moves. It isn't about that. It's about the hero that you want to hug.
Yeah.
Like we'd say Biba Munda. And that's what I was looking for. In Shiva, I was looking for a lot of repressed anger. And that I found that Siddharth could really, who actually does sort of romantic leads in Telugu films, could really bring that anger to forth. So it's all about his eyes. And the exact opposite of Salim. Salim's soft and Shiva or Siddharth is hard. He's like steel.
Right.
And with Parvati, I was looking for a very powerful woman who with her eyes could actually have the power to turn the world upside down if she wanted to. So the great beauty that is Parvati, and the idea of Parvati, the consort of Shiva, anyways, is of a very powerful woman.
Now you share a very powerful friendship with Salman Rushdie. He's the gentleman you chose to collaborate with on this project. How did that friendship that you share assist in the process of creating Midnight Children on film?
The book is written by Mr. Salman Rushdie, and I met him about 6 years ago when he came for a screening of my film Water in New York, and he really liked the film. And he liked it because he thought that the story came from within the characters. It wasn't something that was sort of thrust on the characters.
Right.
And we became friends, and then we always said that let's find a way of working together. I would have loved to do one of his books. And when I asked him if I could do Midnight's Children, he said, yes, of course, go ahead.
Yeah.
And it was great because he wrote the screenplay.
Correct.
We collaborated on it for 3 years, and it's been one of the most satisfactory collaborations of my life. I think I've learned a lot because he's brilliant. And he's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
So, the film, I feel, which is great about it, is that it's filled with humor.
Yeah.
And, you think that because it's based on Midnight's Children that there won't be any, but it's all over.
Yeah, he shared with us, talking about his great sense of humor, he shared with us at the Toronto Film Festival that he gave you the rights for $1.
Yes, he did.
Is that a fair deal, you think? It worked out nicely.
Can you imagine how nice is that? He's amazing because, we had to raise money for it. And, usually for something like Midnight's Children, the rights alone would go for $500,000.
Right.
So he was just great. He said, no, worry about it later. Just you can have it for $1.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
A very good deal. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, cheaper than a cup of coffee.
Yes.
So works out nice. Now on the drive here, I was listening to the radio and the song Rut Aa Gayi Re was playing from 1947. So talk about timing.
My God, that's really,
coincidence.
Do they still play it?
They still play it, yeah. So I wanted to touch upon the music of Midnight Children because it is one of the assets of the film. You chose to work with Nitin Sahni. He's given some wonderful music for this film. So if you could talk about collaborating musically with Nitin, how he came about on this project and about the score of Midnight Children.
For me, music has always been very important from the first film I made, and it was Fire, I think, and I started, I just heard the music for Bombay by A.R. Rahman, and I said, oh my God, I know who should be the composer for Fire. And somebody said, who? And I said, excuse me. And I said, A.R. Rahman, and they started laughing. They said, yes, right. Best of luck to try and get A.R. Rahman.
Right.
But, I was persistent. I went off to Chennai and I said, see Fire, and I'd love you to do the music. So both of us sat in the room together, A.R. Rahman, myself, and we watched Fire on the television, on a DVD or I think those days there were videos.
VCRs, huh? Yeah.
And he finished looking at it and he looked at me. He said, "I'll do it." So it was as easy as that, and we had such a great time. And I have a wonderful working relationship with A.R. Rahman. And then he did Earth.
Yeah.
He did the music for Earth. He did the music for Water. And and I think for Midnight's Children, because I think music is such an essential part of my films, of any DC films, but for me it's really important. The score and also the songs, because the film is from 1920s to 1970s, so it has to be the whole thing. The person that I really thought of was Nitin, because Nitin, as you know, is based in England, he's Indian, he has a very solid grounding in Indian classical music. He knows every rag in the world. I mean, he knows everything about Indian classical music, but yet he is so cool.
Yeah.
So he just, so that sensibility was very important for me for Midnight's Children. So you have a ghazal based on Faiz Ahmed's Faiz, Mujhse Pehli Si Mohabbat, but you also have, he can take out Twist Kare,
right,
and make
an
it
iconic
number. And then he did this beautiful song, love song, which is with Amina's character and Nader's character, when they're exchanging a kiss
through a glass.
Through a glass.
The glass kiss.
The glass kiss. It's such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And you know who wrote the lyrics for it? Nitin's mother.
Oh.
It's so beautiful.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. And then he did, Prem Jogan, which is very beautiful, his rendition of that, and Nadia, very Bahi, so it's such a combination of everything's based on a rag. In fact, Salim's theme, background score, and the theme for Salim, the character, is all based on Rag Desh. If anybody knows what Rag Desh is, check it out. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. You need to check it out. It is an enchanting score. It definitely compels the story to a different level. Now, how would you go about dispelling the myth that Midnight's Children is just a festival film, or it's just a film for those that have read the book? Because it is a film for every Indian, for every Canadian, for every person that wants to watch a good film. So how would you go about dispelling that myth that this is just for
those? There
those?
is no myth, I'll tell you, maybe it is with our audiences here.
Yeah.
But certainly, the fact that the film has been sold now to 52 countries. And it's going to be released all over the world, and including the United States. And I'm not talking just about going to the AMC or the Albion.
Yeah.
This is a regular movie hall. People will hear about it if they feel it's a myth. I don't know. It's so strange. Would they do that? They've said that about all my films, but then they go and see them. So we'll see.
Right.
There's no myth. The other good news is that. Maybe this will help them, that it's being released. It's got a very wide release in India. It's going to be released at the end of December by PVR, who do really good quality stuff, and they're very excited about it. It's good.
So the PVR release, or the India release, more to it, of Midnight's Children, it's been a long time coming. Must be a remarkable feeling for you, wouldn't it?
I must... there were 3 distributors from day one who wanted it.
Yeah. And
we've been juggling them, and then finally we said, let's give it to PVR. So that's again a myth, like you said, about, how do we dispel the myth that it's not a festival film?
Yeah.
How do we dispel the myth that I'm supposed to be really thrilled that we finally got distribution? It isn't that at all.
Yeah.
I would say it because there's no problem saying it. But,
correct.
But people have been wanting it for a long time. We just wanted to make sure that the people who finally did get it got it for the right reasons and would distribute it properly.
Right.
There's no point in Midnight's Children going to what we call B centers. It's not going to play in Chumri Talaiya. It's good that somebody gets it, that it's a multiplex film for urban centers. And this is their marketing plan. So that's important.
Now, people have called Midnight's Children a homage to India, a love letter to India. You're in love with India, so you're very proud to be an Indian?
I don't know if I'm proud to be an Indian. I would say that I'm really proud of being an Indo-Canadian.
Correct.
I feel I'm rooted in India. I love India. It's the country of my birth. It's the country where I grew up. But Canada is also the country that has made a lot possible for me. So, and the great thing about being Canadian is that you can be Canadian and yet be Indian. So I feel not that I'm removed from India. I just feel very Indian, and I feel very Canadian, and it's lovely.
It's lovely.
It's lovely. I love India.
I resonate with that feeling. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is there's also the other end. We're talking about myths and dispelling the myths that it's about a film festival. Film is just a film for people that have read the book. But the people that have read the book feel very strongly about it, are attached to it. They have immense amount of, they have their own visual of the film. So how do you think that Midnight Children on Film fills the appetite of those loyalists?
Nobody could be as loyal to the book as the writer of the book. Salman Rushdie has seen the film many times. The first time he saw it, he was in tears at the end. He loves it. So for me, if the writer of the book loves it, I really don't care about anybody else. Because the truth, not that that's being facetious, of course I would like them to like it, but you have to know the reality is that this cannot be, Midnight's Children, the film, is not a facsimile of the book. Otherwise it would be 8 hours long.
Right.
It's not. So, and always an adaptation is not identical to the book. It cannot be. So if you have War and Peace or you have Cloud Atlas, they are not identical. Or The English Patient even. Or,
right.
Or even, you look at Patra Panchali, if you want to look at the Indian artistic cinema, it can never be identical. But it has to be really true to its essence.
Right.
So I think people who are fans of the book will not be disappointed because, for the very reason that Salman himself is not disappointed, because it is in its essence exactly catches the spirit of the book.
Catching the spirit of the book must have been a tricky process, though. You're going from over 600 pages to a 2-hour plus film. And reading upon the film, I read that you guys matched notes as to the way the film should turn out. How key was those notes matching? What would have happened if those notes didn't match?
I think that if our notes hadn't matched, we exchanged notes. I told Salman that we'll both go our separate ways and let's write down on a piece of paper separately what we think that the film should look like. From scene 1 to scene end of the scene. And then we exchanged our notes, and as you said, supposing those notes didn't match, I think we'd be in a lot of trouble. I don't know if we would even have made the film.
Right.
Because it's so important that the writer and the director share the same vision. And once we knew that we did share the same vision and we had the same blueprint for the film, it was fun.
It was fun.
And a big relief.
Correct, of course. Lastly, before I let you go, I touched upon this when we met at the Toronto International Film Festival. Big canvas, large painting, epic in every sense of the word. How has Deepa Mehta, the filmmaker, changed with Midnight Children?
How have I changed? Why are you asking all these tough questions?
How are you changing?
How am I changing? It's very basic, and every film changes you in some way, because to make a film is to, as a director, is to invest a large part of your life. It takes about 2 to 3 years to make a film. So that part of your life becomes invested in the film. And sometimes when you're a director for hire, when somebody's hiring you and say, come and do that, it doesn't change you. It isn't that kind of an investment.
Right.
But this is a personal investment, and you learn more about, I learned much more about myself. I learned more about what was wanting in me, what I don't have. And I realized that I did not take, this sounds so stupid, but I really didn't take the importance of being in good physical shape seriously.
Right.
And to do the film, this film, because of the length and the breadth and the epic quality and the number of extras and war scenes, it was very challenging, that I really needed to be in good health.
Yeah.
So for the first time in my life, I joined the gym. So you learn something new, that's what I learned.
Yeah.
And it's very important to be in good shape, because it's not just about your mental focus, it's also having the stamina. I didn't ever want to feel that I'm too tired to go the distance.
Correct.
So that's what I learned.
Well, congratulations on Midnight Children. Heartiest congratulations. It is a fantastic film that people need to go out and see. pay the money, buy a ticket, buy some popcorn and watch it.
Second is it's opening.
November 2nd in Toronto, and then all across Canada on the 9th. It's been a pleasure talking to you.